Hello and welcome to the DPN Rover car collection here at DPN TV, and I thought I'd do this little video on changing the batteries on the Rover 2-button key fob. Of course, this key fob used in lots of the Rovers, the 45, the 25, the Metros, some of the 90s Rovers, and even some of the Landrover products or cars, vehicles as well. So I thought it was well worth doing. And if you would like to see videos on us changing the batteries on our Rover 75 key fob or our Metro 1 key fob button, then those videos are there as well. So the batteries you need are the CR2032, and I think it's always worth getting a good battery. It's one of the times I'd certainly recommend that, because you do need those batteries to be reliable and long lasting, because it's not something you want to be changing too often. And I find normally these good batteries do last a good few years. The batteries in this one must have at least been in here 4 or 5 years, I think, at least. So they do seem to last a long time. Normally you know when they're starting to go, because you have to get right up close to the car for the on and off button to work. One of the reasons it's really worth changing the batteries on these key fobs, especially for the Rover 45 and 25, is when you turn the key in the ignition and start the engine, they automatically turn off the immobiliser through a little short range signal. There's like a little aerial around your barrel lock, and the battery needs to be working on this key fob for that to actually work. With many key fobs there's a little chip and it doesn't need a battery at all, whereas with these the battery has to be working. So if the battery went completely flat, you wouldn't be able to de-immobilise your car. Now there are ways of doing that, which I'm not going to cover in this video, through using the driver's door lock and turning the key particular way to enter in your emergency access code, but that's a real last resort. The easiest thing to do is to have a good battery, and what we actually do is carry a spare one of these batteries in the glove box of the car, so if we were unlucky enough for that battery to go flat, we could put that battery in and still get home. So it's certainly well worth doing that. Fairly straightforward to get these key rings apart. On the top, where the key ring goes through, there's a little slightly extended slot compared to the rest. You want a little screwdriver and just gently turn it in there. I'm probably always a little bit cautious, but I don't really like to do any damage to the key fob, and slowly keep turning it. Once you've turned it a little bit, you can go down the side and just lever it open a little bit more, and as you go round you'll get it open. What you don't want to do is stick the screwdriver in too deep, because what you could do is go through and actually damage the piece of circuitry that's inside. So what I normally do actually is gently just remove this out, and you can see that the two rubber buttons are there in the key fob. These are aftermarket key fobs. We've already changed the key fobs, well, the sort of outer casing on all our 45s, because what you don't want is the buttons wearing through and then going on to damage the little buttons in the circuitry. And we've got a video on that as well, where we change the key fob casing. So these casings are aftermarket and changed. We find they work very, very well, and are certainly neater than the old ones where these buttons wear away or even wear through. So the battery, as you can see in this one, is completely sort of held in by this casing. Some of the earlier ones, this casing is sort of more like a half moon. What they've done on the later ones is it goes right over and really holds that battery in. As I said, it's well worth that you get the actual right code, which I normally always do, but recently there was a sell on eBay that used a different code, but then said that those batteries would do about 3 other codes, including this one, and I got them, and they were exactly the same size in diameter, but the thickness was very slightly thinner, really a job to tell. But it was enough that it didn't sit in these key rings right. And these battery numbers are the same for the 75 as well. And it was the same with those. You could push it in so easily that if you sort of knock the key ring or even just general moving about in your pocket, that battery would slip out and you'd lose the keyring. You'd have to take the bits and push the battery back in to get it to work. So it really does need to be this code, even if someone says that those codes are equivalent to this code. Is well, make sure the batteries are definitely that CR2032. Right, so getting the battery out, I normally always try and gently just push it out. Sometimes I even use something plastic just to push this out, because what you don't want to do is use anything metal and short out any of the circuitry. Again, it's probably fairly rare that that would happen, but it's always best to err on the safe side. I've got the little end of a biro nib, and what I'm going to do is just gently push on this just to get this battery out. And they are quite tight in here, which is a good thing, because you don't want it coming out when you're using the keyring particularly. Once you've pushed it out, as I say, probably being over cautious, you can normally then start to grab it. Once you've got it out a fair way, then you can just grab hold of it and take it out. Then it's just a case of cutting the battery out. These always seem to be difficult to get out, and I think it's to do with safety, so that these batteries can't get eaten. Well, that's the battery. I'll just peel this little safety tag off, and then what we do, as I said, that now will go in our car in the glove box. We've got a backup battery, so if this battery ever does go flat, then we've got that backup battery there. What I also always do, and it's useful to have a bit of cloth, is I like to clean this battery off, just to make sure that there's no fingerprints on it when it goes in, because they could affect the conductivity of it, and sometimes will sort of eat into the battery. I find they do, so I like to clean them off. They go up this way. It's always the logo side, or the side with the plus on. And again, it's quite a tight fit, and that's what you want. This battery does not come out. What I'd also recommend doing is, if you're lucky enough to have a spare set of keys with the key ring, only change the battery on one of the key fobs, go out, check it works, check your car unlocks and demobilises before you change the battery on your spare one, in case something has gone wrong. You're not left without a key fob at all. It's certainly well worth doing that. And putting it back together is just the same way. So I then line it back up. As I say, you technically don't need to take the circuit board out of this case. I just find that a lot easier. And then it's a case of clicking the key fob back together. And as I say, if you've never changed the case, we get the aftermarket key fob cases online. We get them through eBay. And if you've got to change the battery on your key fob and you've never changed the case, it's well worth considering. And there is a video on us doing that, actually, with our not only our 2-button key fobs, but also with the Rover 75 key fob as well. One of the other things we've done is we've bought these protective cases to go over the key fobs. One of the things we like about them is the buttons are quite clear. You've got the obvious padlock and unlock, which on the original key rings is pretty difficult to see. There's almost just a little teeny padlock embossed there and nothing on that side. But they're also made of like a silicone gel, and it sort of protects them and stops them getting scratched and marked. But also I feel that if you drop them, obviously you don't want to drop them, but if you do, this gives it a little bit of protection. And we've also got a video on us fitting these to the key fob as well. So yeah, hopefully you found that useful, us changing the battery in our 2-button key fob. All I've got to do now is put this back on there and put them back on our set of keys. This is nice because this set of keys has got the original key ring from the dealership that this car comes from. This is our 2003 1.6 silver Rover 45. But as I said, this procedure will be the same on all the 2-button key fobs. As far as I know, they all used that battery, and although some of the earlier ones didn't demobilise the car automatically, you still had to push the button to do it. The change in the battery procedure will be exactly the same. As always, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to look for our videos and see what's there, and have a look. There's lots of useful stuff on our 45, 75 and our Metro as well. And as always, have a look at our Instagram and Twitter page. As always, thank you very much for watching.